Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Awaken the World. Today we present a Sunday evening meditation and a little discussion on thought. Today, Sunday, November 18th, is 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I must say that it's been a beautiful day here. It's been cool, but the sun has been shining, and it's been very peaceful. A really nice day for a Sunday. So again, I want to thank everyone who participated in the 12-hour retreat. Oh, I see Kim is here. Hello, Kim. Nice to see you this evening. I'm flying solo tonight. Kelly is off at the Beauty and the Beast rehearsal. I had initially agreed to take the role of the Beast, but I decided not to, and the reason being is my commitment is here. My commitment is to the people I serve, and it was causing scheduling concerns with me, and it just works out better this way. And I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy you're here tonight too, Kim. So very nice to see you. And Cindy, hello, Cindy. We've missed you too, both of you guys. We really hoped. And I know the retreat didn't leave a lot of time for people to get prepared. But we're going to do more of these retreats. I'm going to try and do one a month and advertise them at least 3 weeks in advance or so. So I'll be looking for suggestions for December. Whether people want to do it like a few days after Christmas to help relieve the stress. Or perhaps sometime around the middle of the month. I'm not sure. It really doesn't matter to me. I'm fully open. And yeah, Kim, I understand you're very busy. And that is good too. It truly is. Kelly and I are blessed in our quasi-retirement that our work really only takes up about 15 hours of our week. And that leaves a lot of time which we can dedicate ourselves to serving others. And that's really what it's all about too. And I know, Kim, in your job that's what you do. And I know Cindy as well. You both serve, and that is so wonderful. So we're going to have a little discussion on thought before the meditation. And, Terry is here. Hello, Terry. Nice to see you as well. Namaste to you too. Love having you here. It's great to have everyone here this evening. And as I mentioned before, Kelly is actually off doing the play this evening. But it was her, what was going on with Kelly today, actually, that brought up this whole thing about having a little discussion on thought. And really understanding, the basis of thought. And, here's the hard part to handle for a lot of people, because, of course, we have our egos and we like to think that we're all that in a bag of peanuts. But in reality, our thought is nothing more than a natural development. There's really nothing special about it, even though it is special, if you can look at both sides of that coin at the same time. What it is this, and the order here is a little mixed up, to be honest, because this is leading down the path of kind of mixing the topics up. So we're going to do just that, and that's perfectly okay. In the natural development of the egoic sense of self, the mind, it is very much a victim of circumstance, a product of the environment. We can call it environmental thinking. If you were brought up in a small village in the middle of the rainforest and you've not been exposed to anything else except foraging for food, hunting, learning the medicinal plants, learning to work in communion with nature, your thoughts are going to be a product of that environment. I see Terry while the cat's away. Actually, Kelly will tell you, I'm the tiger. So the cat's actually stuck at home, kind of in the cat house. Got to be careful about that one too. There's another term for that. So this environmental thinking literally puts us as a victim of circumstances. If we are brought up in an environment, as I said, in the jungle, our thoughts will be a product of that jungle. If we are brought up in a concrete jungle in the middle of a city by deeply unconscious parents, and we have what we would term as negative experiences, our thoughts will be a product of that. Now, here is the beautiful thing about consciousness and about awareness and about dealing with thought. Thought is really nothing more than that. It is just a natural byproduct of the environment, a natural byproduct of the circumstances. The current thoughts today are very much a natural byproduct of all the thoughts that came prior to it. Breaking that pattern, well, now we're getting a little bit of deeper understanding of from whence thoughts rise. And the repetitive thought patterns are very much like those old cassette tapes. You know, remember those? I think most of us here will remember cassette tapes. Sadly, I go way back to 8-track and cassettes and the whole 9 yards, records. But the thing about these repetitive thoughts, these repetitive tapes, is they have just been ingrained. They're literally just repeating the same pattern because it's simple. There's not any resistance. The neural pathways that are the basis of these thoughts have become so efficient at transmitting the energy of your thought, the actual electrical signal, that it is very easy for that path to fire, those neurons to fire, and so they will fire repeatedly during the day. And we get used to that. And it's unconscious. It is not who you are. It is not that your thinking is bad or wrong or otherwise. Your thinking simply is. The beautiful thing about consciousness and our understanding of our thoughts is now we can begin to see them. And we can begin to look closely at them. And there's a few steps in this that we really need to think about. And the first step, of course, is that unconsciously, we very much think our thoughts equate to reality. Oh, yes, good old 78s. Yeah, and the 45s. I remember the 45s and the 33s. Actually, my first record player came in a suitcase. It was a hard-shelled, like basically a suitcase you opened up. And that was a portable record player. And it weighed it weighed as much as a tuba, I guess. But I loved it. I really did. And John Lennon, actually, the Beatles on my record player out in the park. As a young kid, because I was born in 1960. So, yeah, absolutely beautiful. So this unconsciously, we always think that thoughts equal reality, and we're not consciously aware of what we're doing. So, today was a prime example, and Kelly and I already talked about this, and I said, honey, do you mind if I use you as the usual example? And she said, no problem at all. So we were talking about her children, and she had brought it up, and Kelly was saying how now she's beginning to see how, each of her two older children, their ego was already completely imprinted on them. Because when I first met her, I said, the first two are lost as far as being able to shift the course that they're already locked into. The third boy, Danyan, I call him boy child. That's my term of endearment for him. Was still young enough that there was an opportunity to sway his course a little bit. And the very fact that her two older boys were not swayed from the current path they were locked into is perfectly okay. There is no guilt. There's no judgment on that. They're both experiencing life. They're going to learn hard lessons. Things look a little rosy right now, but both Kelly and I can see what's coming. And she is feeling guilty about it. So we looked at the thoughts. And what it amounted to is that despite the fact that Kelly knows on a certain level, when she's really clear with herself, that everything truly is exactly as it must be. that this is a particular path that they have chosen, and that the best way is to support them on their path in whatever way they need to help them to grow. Not to enable, but to support. And in this process, Kelly realized that she was turning reality into this guilt-driven, horrible situation where her children were going to get in trouble one day, and it was all because of her lack of awareness when she was younger. And that is not reality. Reality is really it. And if you look at reality, it's funny it's kind of built right into it. It's really just it. It just is. And it's not even really real. It's all about our perceptions. It's all about those thoughts. And unconsciously, when we let thoughts equal reality, we're really living our own personal illusion within the illusion. We've kind of been double blinded. We receive the same blindfold everyone else does coming into this physical world, believing you're that individual being, needing to wake up from that sleep. And the product of who you are and what you are is a very natural occurrence. The beauty of consciousness is the ability to see what we are thinking and look more deeply. See the underlying reality instead of what we choose to think about what's going on or about what we perceive. Now, there is an issue, and in this issue, the issue comes up with the voice. That voice we hear in our head, that insane roommate, which, incidentally, you don't want to kill. It's not about the death of ego. It's about understanding ego and understanding where ego comes from, and ego as a thought process, as a thought ball, because that's what your sense of self at an egoic level really is. It's just an artificially intelligent thought ball. There's been so many thoughts placed in there, so much experience jammed in there, that whole ball became kind of self-aware and thinks it's it. And of course, lives its life based on everything that's occurred to it. So we have this voice in our head. Now there's two parts to this voice, of course. There's the part of the voice that we hear out loud when we pay attention, i.e., in the middle of a meditation. I wonder what's for supper tonight. Pops out of nowhere sometimes. And I watch that thought float by. Back to the meditation. Anytime during a day, we'll find ourselves having these thoughts. The thoughts we hear, we must get used to hearing clearly. We must get used to looking at them before we buy into them as reality. Pay very close attention to those which bring a sense of negativity. Your body, as I've said many times, lives in a state of perfect alignment and perfect harmony with your higher being. It must. It is being manifested by that energy. It is the conscious thought and the effect of the conscious thought on the body matrix, this energetic field, that causes the feelings of unease, sadness, depression, anger, fear, guilt. These are labels that we put on our body's reaction to the way we are thinking. And our body does so to say, wait a minute. You are way the hell off course in your thinking there, lad or lassie. You're off course. When you're feeling good about what you're thinking, you know that you're in alignment. You're in that zone. You're in that vortex, as Abraham Hicks would call it. You're in that space, that creative space. There is, however, an insidious voice, and it is the same insane roommate, except it's the part of that that has gone into deep hiding. It lives in one of your closets, and it only comes out at night. It only comes out in the darkness. It is those unconscious things that we speak unto ourselves that can really limit our being. Now, keep in mind, wherever we are at and however we live our lives with our egoic sense of self is perfectly okay. There's no time limit on your awakening. Personally, I would love to see the entirety of humanity to wake up in a sweeping wave of love and awareness and connectivity. Why? Because I wish no more suffering for the human race, even though I know that that suffering is within the illusion. Compassionately, I don't want anyone to suffer anymore. I don't want there to be any more homeless people. I don't want there to be any more people who starve to death. To do that, we work towards our awareness together. We work on ourselves. This unheard voice, this voice of the subconsciousness, okay, is filled with the deepest, darkest things that we fear the most about ourselves, that they may be true. And they never come from you. They've been perpetrated upon you by someone else, or a circumstance, or an event. And for whatever reason, you have come to believe at a deep level that there is a negative part of it that belongs solely to you. Again, this is part of that natural development. That egoic sense of self, the consciously aware portion of yourself, is only consciously aware in a certain frame of reference, of course. In comparison to that entire sea of consciousness, we may find that our state of awareness isn't very much at all. This is a big universe and it's forever expanding, and this is not a judgment. I consider myself to be at the beginning of life, truly at the beginning of life. For as much as I may think I know that I'm not even touching the tip of the iceberg yet. That there is, for everything I think I know, there's 100 million things more that I don't, and that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of this journey, of the awareness, of the awakening. How do we deal with the unheard voice? We must watch how the unheard voice can affect the heard voice. I.e., when the heard voice pops up in anger for no apparent reason at the person that is in front of you. Often what it is there's something within that person that is triggering that deeper fear, that deeper subconscious voice. Be on guard for those things that you would find that limit yourself. You are limitless. This is a beginning to understanding thought. This is a roadmap to getting more deeply in touch with the thought processes that are going on within. You as that observer, that silent awareness, have the ability to look at, pull apart, and analyze those thought processes, and then use the ego itself to rationalize correctly from a higher place of being the foolishness of our thinking. Thinking that we, in our barely born into the universe capacity, could somehow be at fault. We, of course, have responsibility, but not fault. If there are no questions in regard to this little discussion on thoughts, we are going to move on to our meditation. I always like that period of time. I do want to say that unconsciously, you will be a victim of circumstance. In consciousness, you become the victor of circumstance. And all it takes is a change in your thought, a change in your perceptions. I didn't really have a planned meditation for tonight, so I think we're gonna go with Hari Om. I particularly like that meditation, and I believe most everyone else does as well. So if that's okay, I really just wanted to invite everyone to do it with me tonight because I would normally be doing it, and I'm going to try and do that more often. Invite people to show up, and we will meditate together. So with that, we will turn to the meditative section of this. We'll go to our candle. We will allow those waves of divine love and light to manifest out of the core of our being, break upon the shore of our awareness. During this meditation, we will have a 2 to 3 minute period of silence where you will simply hear the waves. During that time, feel free to continue to chant internally or externally. We come here together to this gateless gate. The meditative cushion that so many have come to so many times before. We come with no expectation, only to sit with ourselves, to remain aware. I would ask that you take a comfortable position. Allow your head to be in alignment with your back. Again, perhaps that golden thread extending from your crown chakra up into the heavens. I am far more than the sum of my thoughts of myself. That which I truly am is simply beginning at thought. Allow yourself to sink deeper into the silence. Allow the waves of divine light to gently wash upon the shore of your awareness. Hariya. Allow the waves of divine light to slowly recede back into the core of your being. When you are ready, gently open your eyes, return. Thank you, all of you. Thank you for being here this evening. Thank you for taking the time out of your evening to meditate with me. When two or more of us are gathered in common purpose, in the conscious awareness of I am, when we come together, we reach a sublime state of being. The whole of creation turns its eyes upon us, and we are lent that energy. This is the beauty of meditating together, of sharing together. One of the many hints in our everyday lives reminding us of our connectedness, our oneness. One last thought for this evening. Never beat yourself up for where you are in your thinking. Never be frustrated if you recognize your thinking to be old and patternistic. Be gentle on yourself. The simple awareness of a thought pattern is indeed a victory. It in itself begins to transmute the energy of those thoughts back into the energy of pure conscious awareness, the light that you truly are. Much love to you all. Namaste. And as always, you're going to see me again soon. Take care for tonight.